So today's a lecture about Dubspot. Many of you may have heard of Dubspot, a DJ school that had two branches, I believe one in New York and one in LA. And the school went out of business, or it's still functioning online, but they were basically scamming students. And they were taking tuitions, and they weren't actually giving the kids courses. A lot of the teachers had quit. They weren't paying the teachers. There's a lot of drama going on. So we're going to do an investigation, a thorough investigation on what happened with Dubspot, because a lot of people still don't know what happened. There's a lot of unclarity. So I'm going to just do a basic web investigation. So I'm going to look at Facebook, Google, different outlets and things like that. And we're just going to be kind of investigating what actually happened with Dubspot. So to give this, shout out to everybody that's watching. So to give this a little prequel, I actually applied for a teaching position at Dubspot like a decade ago. I can't even remember when it was. But, at the school, they were actually teaching my notational system. For those of you who don't know, I invented the turntablist transcription methodology, a system of scratch notation for DJs. So Dubspot, some of the instructors there were actually, showing their students my system, like I believe like DJ Shifty. I guess Access was also there, and some other friends of mine like Matt Shade Tech. Shout out to the whole, Shade Tech sound system. And shout out to Zach too. Matt was teaching there. A lot of people I knew, and also, I believe Access, and then also some other people as well. But I applied to Dubspot, and instead of giving my application a look, I literally went up to Dan, and he was like, "Don't give me the application. Go find Kelly." Or go find Dan. Ask for Dan or Kelly. So I went downstairs asking for like Dan or Kelly, and then the person told me, "Oh, Dan's upstairs." So I went back upstairs, and I realized I had been speaking to Dan from the beginning. So he actually was trying to kind of brush me off. And that's just some backdrop. So we're just going to do a quick investigation. Shout out to Olivier. Shout out everybody that's watching. We're going to do an investigation in Dubspot on what happened, why Dan was stealing money from people. Why there's they said there's over 55 students that have been reportedly accused Dubspot of not delivering on classes. So he was keeping tuitions, and he wasn't actually providing courses for the kids, and so the whole school just kind of unraveled and fell apart. And they had a very, very big school on 14th Street. I had never been to the LA location, but the New York location was very, very big. Multiple floors, and that's a lot of rent that they had to pay. So we're going to start the investigation. So shout out to Olivier once again. So we're going to start this investigation. I'm going to flip the screen. Now we're looking at this. So I'm going to read this. So it says 55 students have reportedly accused Dubspot of not delivering on classes they paid for in advance, some of who have not seen refunds nor received any communication whatsoever. These accusations come as rumors of erratic behavior from Dubspot CEO Dan. So, as I was just saying before, when I went there to apply for a teaching position like a decade ago, Dan was the one that I actually ran into first. And when I said, "Where do I give my application?" he actually lied to me and said, just go downstairs and talk to some people and ask for Dan or Kelly, even though he was actually Dan. So that being said, it's kind of interesting because, all those years ago, I said like, hey, I made a post years ago. I made a post like a decade ago, like, hey, they didn't even let me submit my teaching application, even though they're teaching my notation system at the school. And I was like, and I had actually called them out. I was like, hey, that's kind of racist if you're not giving a black teacher that literally invented a notation system that the school is actually using, and they're releasing like scratch notation videos and stuff like that. So I thought like, hey, maybe I might be able to get a job there. They are teaching my system there. So I called them out for being racist way back, and then like a couple weeks later, That's when they got the masks at Dubspot, if anybody remembers that. But when I called them out a decade ago, people were looking at me crazy, like, "Whoa, why are you calling them out? Like, why are you stirring up trouble?" But now, as we can see, and as the smoke is cleared, we know that Dan was stealing from people. So let's get the investigation started. All right, so I'm gonna flip back around. Let's get this investigation started. So this is an investigation on Dubspot for all the new people coming in. All right, so we're gonna start with link by link. All right, so how a world-renowned DJ and production school collapsed after being accused of fraud. So I'll read this. So Dubspot is an internationally... Oh, we already read this, but I'll read this again. Dubspot is an internationally renowned DJ and production school with now shuttered outposts in New York and Los Angeles. And it was the locus of one of the most fascinating electronic music news stories of the year. So Vice, their wing thumb folded, and the guy, David Garber, discovered unpaid instructors and employees and classes that were paid but never in session. Here, Garber speaks to Dubspot's former CEO, Dan, and a slew of former students and employees to find out exactly what happened. So this is going to be like a meta article where we're going to look at different articles, we're going to look at different things and talk about what happened. And you guys, everybody can leave their comments on this video. This is for the YouTube people. So yeah, and tell us what you think, if you had any experiences, if any of your money was stolen. All right. And just for the record too, this is TTM Academy, and TTM Academy is a free DJ school. And actually, one of the main reasons I started TTM Academy a decade ago was, I think it was after Dubspot happened, after they didn't even accept my teaching application. I think that was when I was like, I'm just going to start a free DJ school and destroy all these schools, So yeah, so that's kind of what happened. So this kind of inspired me to start TTM Academy. One of the reasons I started TTM Academy was being denied at Dubspot, even though they're using my notation at the school. So I'm like, okay, all right. Because for me, it was kind of the same as like if like Pushkin or somebody, was seeking to teach Russian somewhere and they denied, Pushkin's application. I would think that would be kind of racist. So I had called them out on being racist. A decade ago, and then Dan got the African masks in there to try to make it seem multicultural. But yeah, so let's switch back to where we were. All right, so let's go back. So yeah, so New York's Dubspot once had a positive and productive vibe, founded in 2006 by Dan Giove. It was one of the first places to offer a quality hands-on education in electronic production and DJing. Dubspot quickly thrived, garnering press coverage from Syntopia, Time Out New York, House Music Institution, Abe Duke, and renowned turntablist DJ Shifty have taught there, and icons like DJ Sprinkles and Nile Rodgers have collaborated with the program in its prime. Dubspot had events, a cafe, a podcast series, a blog, and notable alumni across the electronic music spectrum, like Jubilee and Hyperbits. Courses which could run upwards of $6,000 were regularly sold out months in advance. Now Dubspot is all but dead. So you see, these courses were $6,000 each. And what happened was, people were paying this guy, and a lot of the teachers had already quit. And he was still accepting everybody's money. So he got like at least, there's about 55 students right here. They're saying there's at least 55 students that have reportedly accused Dubspot of not delivering the classes that they pay for. So that's basically what happened. So we're gonna, so yeah, shout out everybody that's in the house. So we're just gonna do an investigation on Dubspot and everything that went down with this. So I'm gonna read all these articles. So in May of last year, Gio stepped down as CEO of the company amidst a sprawling scandal caused by canceled classes, missed students, student refunds, unpaid staff, and accusations of professional and personal misconduct. The school had already lost its physical location, a neon brick-walled hangout adorned in a trendy pop art, and of course a disco ball in New York's meatpacking district. So anybody that knows Dubspot, it was in a very, very prime real estate area. So it was, it's probably pretty expensive to have all that. So Giove alleges the reason had to relocate was because the landlord planned to sell the building, but a new NYC outpost has never opened. After months without refunding or explaining to students who had paid the school's costly tuition, $6,000, some who traveled from overseas just to take classes, Giove broke his silence. In an email to a select group of students, former employees, and others once involved with the school, he announced he'd be transitioning to a support role and avowed mistakes he had made as a CEO. Despite this role change, many of Dubspot's debts reportedly remain unpaid. All right, so there were lots of shady refund practices with students. It seemed like a money grab kind of situation. So many former employees, like I mentioned, some of my homies from back in the day. I had a lot of friends that worked there, like Excess, Matt Shaytek, a lot of DJs, a lot of turntablists and stuff. Even Nate Mars. Nate Mars was working there too. Applied for a teaching application there. Nate was there, Matt was there, and Excess was there. And so I was like, hey, I know people here. Yeah, maybe I get a job here. But he was acting real weird. All right, cool. So let's flip back around. All right, so we're gonna skip through some of this. So yeah, many former. So I'm gonna bring this back. So many former employees who participated in this story, from early managerial staff and instructors to interns and support employees, described the early years at Dubspot as fruitful and fertile. The guy that ran this company, he's a Harvard graduate. And this is the guy that's scamming, he was scamming DJs and young producers and, the youth and also older people that were, there's people of all ages that were studying there. All right. So Robbie Lumpkin, an intern turned marketing employee at Dubspot, appreciated the school's early years. He notes its knowledge and friendly instructors as well as craftily accelerated courses, but echoes the descriptions of Giove as unpredictable, disagreeable, and often absent. There was lots of shady refund practices with students. It seemed like a money grab kind of situation. So we got back to that. So this is what I was saying, that the African masks. Before I called them out for being racist, a decade ago, they didn't have any African masks, but like 2 weeks later, that he put up all these African masks. So Dubspot's Los Angeles location was conceived in 2014 when Giove decided to move across the country and set up shop in the West Coast. So shout out to Thavius Beck, my homie Thavius Beck. I still got that beat that you sent me. I'm going to definitely get on that, but I'm going to go to one of Thavius's comments. Let's see. So he says, I kind of feel obligated to post this. This is beyond unfortunate. I appreciated my time there, and I learned for the first time that I had skill and passion for teaching. But as far as I know, none of the staff left unscathed. And I, as well as many others, were dealing with the ramifications of the gradual collapse of Dubspot. So, it was like a sinking ship. And while the ship was sinking, Dan was just taking people's money. So I'm going to go to another homie, Neil Armstrong, another turntablist. I guess I hadn't been paying attention when this was all going down and didn't see much about it in my feed. This saddens me immensely because I was one of the people who long ago helped start Dubspot. It's been years since I've been there, and it's a bummer to hear that this is how it ended. Right, and I think Vice Thump is not even I think it's, see, look, it's, oh no, here it is. Okay, so they changed it. They got rid of Thump, but now it just directs to Vice. So we're going to go to this Vice article. I try not to look at Vice articles because, Vice was started by an actual Nazi that's, anybody knows Gavin McInnes. Gavin McInnes is one of the founders of Vice magazine, and Gavin McInnes actually started the Proud Boys, and they're actually banned off of Facebook. They're actually literally a hate group, and on whatever the hate book group roles are or whatever, they're actual literal hate groups. So the guy that started Vice magazine, is an actual like card carrying, fascist neo-Nazi. So I try, as much as possible not to post or forward Vice stuff, but sometimes, maybe they only have the story on it. So I think they might have broke the story in this. So I kind of have to go to them. All right. So I'm going to read that. So let's go to it. All right. So Dubspot CEO Dan Giove resigned resigned from the company today. Thump's previous investigation into Dubspot's business practices follows below. So, former students and teachers of the internationally renowned electronic music production and DJ school Dubspot have accused its CEO Dan of fraudulent activities and erratic behavior. Thump has learned in emails seen by Thump over 55 students alleged that the school did not deliver the classes which they had paid for up front. So $6,000 classes. In some cases, and have not issued refunds. So we're going to scroll down. Let me keep scrolling. All right, in the email, a student complained of poor communication on the part of the school staff, classes being rescheduled multiple times. Students also said that they did manage to go to class. Students also said that when they did manage to go to class, there was often no instructor present because they themselves had not been paid by their teacher's fee and refused to teach. So Nina Braith from Austria had paid $4,396 for an Ableton Live producer certificate course at Dubspot's New York location that was due to start in March. After not hearing from the staff about an official start date, she went to the school in April to see what was going on in person, and the school was a mess, she told Thump. There was hardly any equipment there anymore, and I was offended by a guy who was at the school and rudely asked me to leave. I have spoken to 2 teachers who had worked at Dubspot before and can't believe how much money Dan Giove already owes so many people. Students and teachers, and for how long this situation is already going on. She added, after not hearing back about getting a refund from Dubspot, Braith was able to get her money back via her credit card company. So she was able to get it back, but most people weren't. It was over 50 people weren't able to get it back. So the school's 2 physical locations, its New York flagship and its LA outposts, have now both closed, but no formal announcement has been made by the company Dubspot, which was founded in 2006 by Giove. Is also currently the subject of ongoing legal action by students and staff who have taken their cases to court for amounts ranging from $150 to $10,000. While some students have already won their cases in the courts, most of the students Thump spoke with, Thump is defunct now, they shut it down, which goes to show that Vice is kind of only trying to corner the market of, conscious kind of stuff or positive stuff. A lot of times they're kind of doing a lot of subversion. But so Thump spoke with, said that they have yet to receive a response from staff regarding the refunds. Multiple top levels employees at the company also appear to have left within the last 6 months, according to the public professional networking profiles. As recently as 2017, online support and admissions employees were still collecting fees from students eager to sign up for courses. Dubspot's online school, which offers remote learning, still appears to be taking reservations for classes. The company's social accounts are still functioning with no mention of the closed locations or canceled classes. So we're going to go to the Dubspot Facebook. We're going to click Dubspot on Facebook. So you see there's 2 of them on here. One has 134,000, one has 3.9K. And then there's this one. So we're going to click on all 3 of them. So we're going to click on this one first. So this one has about 4,500 people. And let's go to reviews. We're going to click on the reviews and we can see some of what happened. So, let's see. So the CEO is a liar, straight up. Would recommend staying as far away from this place as possible. Places like this should be shut down due to the way they steal from their students and handle issues that their own staff brought upon them. This last post is from 2011. Don't even consider this establishment. Attended for almost 2 years and wish I had gone to Icon Collective. Met some amazing people and teachers, but not worth the time if you want to learn how to finish a track. They stole my money and never gave me any of my classes. Just want the story straight so we can all move forward with what we need to do as a group to get our money back and hopefully prevent this from happening to anyone else. Do not apply to the school before reading this. I wish someone had told me this before. This school is not like its website. Don't fall for it. The pictures are from the old building and there aren't as much equipment as they claim. The administration area doesn't help the students at all. I have an issue that they refuse to answer, and it's been 2 weeks and they're ignoring my emails, and no one from the school can help me. Funny, isn't it? I'm going to click on see more, see what else he says. We have been without classes for 3 weeks. And for international students like me, it was a waste of 1 month, rent, food, etc. money. They're definitely not ready for foreign students. Although the teachers are great, and they really are, the administration really won't care about you. The business is money and not music. Be aware that if you really go for a Dubspot and you have any problem with them, they won't help you like they should. I'm trying to get some refunds since I'm leaving the school in a few weeks, and they postpone so many classes, they don't even reply or seem to care about it. Well, I'm really running blind on this issue. Again, they do have excellent teachers, but they don't treat them right. Dubspot, pay your teachers and pay the building. Stop being irresponsible. If money is the problem, get out of Manhattan and go to Queens or Brooklyn. Last but not least, what really makes me angry is that my money with this poor administration CEO and not with the teachers who truly deserve it. So Dan has been pocketing all the money. So Dan took all the money from Dubspot. So the teachers weren't getting paid. So I'm going to continue reading this guy's post. Any doubt? I'll be glad to help you guys. Who is trying to find a good school. Send me an inbox anytime for more details. I really apologize for all the teachers who don't deserve to read this, but who's running the business is a joke. So he's talking about Dan being a joke. Dubspot is closed. New York, LA, online. Do not pay or enroll anymore. They are stealing money from the people. I've been waiting for a refund for classes for an absurd amount of time now. Basically stole my money. Would not recommend this place to anyone for the sole fact that they are not trustworthy. Every time I inquire about my money, they tell me they'll call me back, which obviously isn't happening. The experience I had with them is nothing short of unacceptable, and they will be hearing from my lawyer. So over 50 people sued them. So this is a lot of people, over 50 students. A couple of students got their money back, but and I shouldn't even say sued them. This is all suing Dan. Dan's kept all the money. All right, so let's see. So let's skip through some of that. Let's go to another one. Let's see. Amazing teachers and students, but this place was so poorly run by the CEO, Dan Giove, that the U.S. Marshal shut down the NYC school in the downtown location just minutes before one of my classes. Literally changed the locks on the place, and we had to leave. I was then offered a free class at the new location and was very lucky to complete it, but now the spot is also shut down. I feel sorry for anyone that's been and currently is getting screwed. On the bright side, I'm currently enrolled in Hyperbit's masterclass online, and it's amazing in all aspects. Highly recommend it. So don't waste your time on Dubspot when there are plenty of other schools out there that are run without shady stuff going on. Again, this has nothing to do with instructors or students there. They were awesome. Do not make any payments for this school. They will steal your money. Took money for a course, changed the course without notifying us. When we tried to call, no one answers the phone, and one number they give is totally bogus. Finally got an answer when we called. It was someone who works on computers there. When we asked to speak to admissions or billing, they stated that they have no phones and that we have to send them email messages. Are you kidding me? No one has phones? What century are we in? Send emails with no answer, yet they have 4,300 we paid for a course, contacting a lawyer. So this is really serious. They stole a lot. Dan, I keep saying they, but really it's Dan. So this is very, very serious. Dan stole a lot of money from a lot of people. So that's over 50 students so far that we've, that were suing him. So that's like a really, really serious thing. Everybody giving him $4,000 to $6,000. That's a lot of money. So Dan stole a lot of money from a lot of people. And I had called Dan out a decade ago, and I remember I ran into maybe Excess or somebody on the train. No, you know what it was? It was Matt Shatek. I ran into Matt in the train, and I was just telling him about Dan, and it was just kind of like, oh, whoa, I didn't know Dan could get racist and stuff. But obviously, you see that people that are racist, sociopathic people, are obviously can also tend to be liars and thieves. So in this case, not only is he proven to be racist in the past, he's proven to be a thief and a liar and a swindler. So he's been literally swindling DJs and producers and people that are aspiring producers. All right, so I'm gonna switch back around. All right, so we're gonna read some more of these. All right. And again, shout out to the Underground Producers Alliance. Shout out to H Prism, Scotty Hart, everybody, the whole crew. So let's see. Somebody likes Dubspot. All right. So don't answer any email. Don't answer any emails. 2 months and a half of no answers. The embassies canceled my visitor visa because I don't have any letter of recommendation by Dubspot. So people are getting deported because of them, because of Dan. I'm 100% training student in Chile. The international network sucks. All right, so basically that's some of what had been happening. So if anybody wanted to know what happened with Dubspot, this is basically what happened with Dubspot. The head of it, started stealing everybody's money and stopped paying teachers, and he was just pocketing everything. All right, and so let's see. So we probably read this one already. It seems, but amazing teachers and the student, but this place was so, oh no, we read that one. All right, so let's keep going. We're going to skip ahead a little bit. All right, we're going to keep going down some more. All right, these seem to be kind of the same ones. All right, so let's go back. We're going to go back to this article. All right, so this article, so let's see. So Robbie Lumpkin, a former student and marketing employee at the company, who currently works as a promoter, DJ, and stage manager at Output Nightclub in Brooklyn, told Thump about Joe's often erratic and volatile behavior, saying the CEO's decision to open a new space in LA was ill-conceived and the nail in the coffin for the company. According to Lumpkin, a number of senior staff at Dubspot tried to deter Joe from opening the school's LA location back in 2014 by pointing out that there was not adequate funding for the expansion. And that goes to show that sometimes when a business is about to fail, sometimes when people know that, they try to start a new wing or a new part of the company so they can get more funding and cover up all the old things that they were stealing from, and getting new types of funding to pay for the old, things that they were stealing. So Dan was, cooking his books and stealing, and then so he opened up the second location to try to, cover up a lot of the stuff, but it obviously didn't work. All right, so let's go back. All right. So Mike Henderson, I'm going to read the rest of that other part. It's basically nailing the coffin for the company. According to Lumpkin, a number of senior staff at Dubspot tried to deter Gio from opening the school's LA location back in 2014. Now let's skip ahead. As corroborated by other former employees at the company, at least 6 of those employees were swiftly fired by Gio after a team meeting in New York. Mike Henderson, aka DJ Indo, a former early employee of Dubspot, who helped design much of the school's digital DJing curriculum, including a tractor class he taught with notable DJ Shifty, who's a dope turntablist, recently quit the company. He told Thump he was given audio gear by an apologetic CEO, Dan Giove, in lieu of owed paychecks and commissions. So this guy wasn't paying his teachers, and he was stealing while he was still accepting students' tuitions, like $6,000 tuitions, and then he was trying to pay this guy back in like old gear, like, oh, here's an old MIDI patch bay, or something. It's like, that's kind of crazy. All right, so let's see. So Thump has also seen a lengthy email thread originating from an email addressed Dubspot owes me, with numerous disgruntled Dubspot customers who connected with one another to share their stories and discuss potential legal action they could take against the school. Among those on the chain include a mom who brought her son on a series of classes as a postgraduate course, two Austrian natives who obtained visas and apartments in the United States to take Dubspot courses, as well as various other students whose stories seem to follow a similar theme. All right, so they just ripped a lot of people off. So let's go to another article. Let's go back. All right, we got Dubspot. All right, so how a renowned DJ and production school fell. We already saw that one. So we're going to look at this one. Scamming. Well, we just did that. That was the Vice one. So let's go to page 2. All right. So maybe I'm going to type Dubspot scam. I have that one already saved up. So popular DJ school. All right. So what really happened? The decline and fall of Dubspot. So this is an investigation about Dubspot and Dan stealing from the students. All right. So here we go. So here's an interesting look by FactMag into apparently terminal problems suffered by the once popular Dubspot music training outfit. For those who hadn't heard of it, Dubspot was set up in New York and taught electronic music and DJ skills with students traveling from around the world and paying thousands of dollars for courses. But in the last few years, this once respected education establishment has been accused by students and former trainers of a variety of fraudulent practices. All right. So so according to fact, things started to take a turn for the worse when the company, under the leadership of founder Dan Giove, set up an LA branch. Former Dubspot marketing research development manager Dave Cross says he saw the tides begin to turn, including erratic behavior from Giove and a dire need for reorganization, particularly with the school's budget or lack thereof and its payroll. All right, so there was lots of shady, so we just covered that. There was also reported to have been large sums of money spent on extravagant decor, while elsewhere staff went unpaid and students paid for classes that never took place. Fact continues. In May of this year, Giove stepped down as CEO of the company amidst a sprawling scandal caused by canceled classes, missed students, refunds, unpaid staff, and accusations of professional and personal misconduct. While the management admit some failings and deny others, the eventual fate of the company would seem to suggest that something went very wrong at the top. As a respected education provider ourselves, we understand how keeping the welfare of your students and pro trainers at the top of your priority list is paramount to being successful. They certainly wouldn't be the first company to overreach with their ambitions, but it's never pleasant for anyone having to deal with the fallout. All right. So that's basically, so let's look at some more articles. So that pretty much sums up what's been happening. I mean, what happened. All right. So Dubspot alleged, this is all stuff from 2017. So this is what Dubspot looked like at its height. All right, so this is what Dubspot was looking like at its height, and it was it was the biggest DJ school and production center in New York, and everything just collapsed. People were paying $6,000 a month for these classes to be able to learn Ableton and be able to learn turntablism and all this type of stuff, right? And then everything just collapsed. All right, so we're gonna look at this. There are 3 fairly well-known music production schools that cater mostly towards electronic music. They are Icon Collective, Point Blank, and Dubspot. With reference to the last, it seems that Dubspot is in the spot of trouble as over 50 students have joined in a collective email chain to voice their concerns over unfulfilled promises, money loss. Specifically, teachers and students have accused CEO Dan Giove of fraudulent activities and erratic behavior across the first in a series of articles, and that was from the Thump article. So back to what I was saying before. I had called out Dan a decade ago about being racist and not accepting my teaching application. I literally had it in my hand, and I was like, "Hey, where do I submit this teaching application?" And he was like, "Go downstairs and talk to Kelly or find Dan." Even though he was Dan, he told me to find Dan or Kelly. You know, he thought maybe I would just walk away and never come back. But yeah, so that's how when I first called them out, that was, you know, way long ago, and people were like, oh, you know, people thought I was just coming at Dan for no reason, but obviously it turned out that Dan was, you know, was off. All right, so let's go back. All right. So we're gonna skip through a lot of this, and let's actually go. Let's go to YouTube. I'm gonna go to YouTube. I'm gonna type Dubspot on YouTube. So let's go to YouTube. I'm gonna type Dubspot. So Dubspot. All right. And Dubspot. I'm gonna type Dubspot scam because that's what we're kind of researching. So, but Dubspot popular school scamming students. So let's see what this person has to say. All right, so we'll be done very soon. Let me take this headphone thing out. Wait a sec. All right, here we go. So let's see what this guy has to say.
YouTube tutorials, you know, they're not for you. My name is Samuel, and today's video is a very serious one with some very serious accusations. Now, imagine you're a music producer and YouTube tutorials, you know, they're not for you. So you decide to spend $10,000 to attend a music production school. And you show up on the day of class only to find out that the school has been shut down. You contact them only to not get an email back. And now you're down $10,000. You're screwed. You feel like this is the worst decision you've ever made and your dreams are crushed. Well, sadly, this has been happening at a school in New York City, in Los Angeles, and even online. And the school is called Dubspot. Now, one of you guys brought this to light, and I can't thank you guys enough. You guys know I'm always looking to let people know what the hell is going on, because a lot of producers are always getting taken advantage of. So in front of us, we have an email sent by, again, one of you guys that they received, you know, from a guy.
All right, so this is a one of those, you know, just probably one of the same people that left a comment on the Facebook page. But, you know, it's basically everybody's, you know, getting their money stolen. Let's look at what Dan, so you guys know a face to the person that's stealing from everybody or stole from everybody. So I'm going to type Dan Giove. Maybe I'm pronouncing it wrong. It's Giove. I'm not sure. But yeah, this is Dan right here. This is Dan right here. So this is the guy. This is the guy that was stealing from everybody. This is the guy that was taking $6,000 tuitions, and people were, and even though the door was locked by the marshal on his building. All right, so he just kind of, you know, maybe he was drugs, maybe he's out of his mind. I don't know what happened, but obviously, you know, he was out of his mind because he just kept taking people's money. Because the more noble thing would have been to say, like, hey, our school's having some problems and shutting down. But I guess he was thinking that he could just keep taking people's money and eventually he'd be able to fix it and get some bigger investors or something like that. But it obviously didn't work out. So we're going to go back to that picture. So yeah, so this is Dan from Dubspot. And yeah, so this is, you know, this guy, you know, he's a Harvard graduate. And it just goes to show that, you know, sometimes cockiness and being that kind of like whiz kid and like, oh, I'm a Harvard graduate, you know, a lot of times those people can become, you know, very sociopathic and actually become, you know, predatory against others. So yeah, so this is, we're going to wrap up this, this investigation. We pretty much, you know, went through a bunch of testimonies from some students, and we found that, you know, this guy, the whole press is, you know, coming at this guy. You know, he's stealing from everybody. And the thing is that if you go to Facebook right now, you'll see that there's this Facebook page that we just went to that had like 5,000 people, I think. But then there's still some other Dubspots on there. So like, let's say we go to, let's say I go back, and so there's this other Dubspot. Let's say this, let's go to the big one. There's one 134K. So this was like their main page, right? It's like 134,000 people. Right, so a whole lot of people, and you see, look, they're acting like it's like February 19. It's like, hey, want to learn how to master Ableton? Even in 2019, they were still trying to front like they were still a functioning company, but you know, they obviously he had stolen thousands and maybe hundreds of thousands from students. Because if he had 50 students that had paid him at least $6,000, that's 300,000 right there, you know. So you know, it's possibly up to 300,000 that he stole. That's a lot of money. Plus he was already in debt, and then his building got shut down, right? All right, so so we're gonna skip through this, and let's see. So let's look through over here. Now we're gonna look at some of these posts, some of these abouts. Let me see. Oh, they don't have a message section right here. They don't have a review section. But yeah, we already went through a bunch of testimonies. But yeah, this is just goes to show that they were trying to still act like they were, you know, like 2018 he made one post, 2019 he made one post, you know, but now 2020 there's no post, like it's officially gone. And it had already been officially gone, but he was still trying to get some extra money in 2018, even though he had been shut down in 2017. You can see here, you know, he erased a lot of the bad press, and he just kind of try to keep it moving. See, 2018, he's trying to keep it going. All right. And that's it. So yeah, that's the investigation on Dubspot. That was like 45 minutes or something like that. All right, peace, y'all.